Hey everybody! This is the host. Today we are going on an exciting adventure with Milo the rabbit and his best friend Zara the squirrel. They loved to play every day in the forest. They would run, jump, and tell each other stories under their favorite tree. But one day something changes, and will Milo still be a good friend? Let's see. Once upon a time in a leafy green forest, there lived a happy rabbit named Milo. Milo loved hopping around the forest with his best friend Zara the squirrel. They were the best of friends. Every morning, after the dew dried on the grass, they would meet under their favorite tree to plan what fun games they would play that day. One sunny morning, Milo and Zara were playing tag among the tall trees. As they ran past their favorite tree, Zara stopped and looked up at the tall mountain that loomed over the forest. Its peak was hidden behind fluffy clouds, but Zara knew that if she climbed to the top, she would get a beautiful view of the entire forest. "One day, I want to climb Promise Peak," she told Milo. Milo had never been so high up in the mountains before. He imagined how dizzy he might get and quickly shook his head. But he didn't want to stop Zara from having fun. So he said, "That sounds like a great adventure. Zara? Maybe another day." And the two friends continued playing. But just then, Milo had an idea. He could climb the mountain too. If he tried really hard, maybe he could even reach the peak. He turned to Zara and asked, "Do you want to climb the mountain together?" Zara's eyes sparkled. "Yes," she replied excitedly, and the two friends raced off toward the mountain. It was going to take a long time to reach the top, so Milo and Zara decided to make a pinky promise under their favorite tree to encourage themselves to keep going. They stood facing each other, reached out their paws, and closed their eyes tight. "I promise I will climb the mountain with you," they said at the same time. Then they opened their eyes and smiled at each other. They felt so happy knowing that they would have each other's company during their adventure. The next morning, Milo hopped over to Zara's house to tell her that he was ready to climb Promised Peak. But when he got there, he found that Zara wasn't home. He looked around for her, but she wasn't anywhere to be seen. Milo started to feel a little worried. Where could she be? Had she forgotten about their promise? Just then, Milo saw a note taped to Zara's door. He walked over and read, "Dear Milo, I won't be able to climb the mountain with you today. My family and I need to go away for a while, because the forest needs to be repaired. We'll be back soon, I promise. Love, Zara." Milo felt sad when he read that Zara wouldn't be able to climb the mountain with him, but he knew that she couldn't help it. Still, he couldn't help but wonder if she would ever return. As days turned into weeks, Milo started to lose hope that Zara would ever come back. His other forest friends noticed that he seemed unhappy. "What's wrong, Milo?" asked Deer one day as she skipped past him. "I used to have a best friend named Zara," Milo replied quietly, but she had to move away. "Oh, dear," said Deer. "If you want, we can climb Promise Peak together," she added hopefully. Milo looked up at the tall mountain. Would he ever be able to reach the top without Zara? Still, he knew that she wouldn't want him to stop playing just because she wasn't there. So he said, "Thank you, dear, but I'll be okay," and he started walking away. Each time Milo passed by his favorite tree, he remembered his pinky promise with Zara. Would she ever come back? And would they still be best friends? One day, while Milo was sitting under his favorite tree, Bear came over to sit with him. "Hey Milo, why don't you come play with us?" he asked. "We're going to climb Promise Peak and slide down its snowy slopes." Milo hesitated. Would he ever be able to reach the top of the mountain? What if he found Zara and she didn't want to be friends anymore? But then he took a deep breath and replied, "Okay, let's go." As they neared the top of the mountain, Deer turned to Milo and said, "This is the best part of the day. Look how beautiful everything looks from up here." Milo looked up at the glowing mountain and realized that Zara was right. The view was amazing. He wanted to tell his friend all about it. But just then, he heard a voice say, "Did you forget our promise?" Startled, Milo turned around to see who was there, but no one was behind him. Had he made a promise to always wait for Zara? Suddenly, Milo felt ashamed. He had been so focused on himself that he forgot about his best friend. He had also forgotten about his promise. "No," he whispered. I said I'd wait for Zara." Bear and Deer were surprised. They hadn't meant to make Milo choose between his friend and them. "Well then, let's wait for Zara together," said Bear. And the three friends sat down on a nearby log to wait for her. Just then, Milo spotted something in the distance. Could that be Zara? The three friends jumped up and raced over to greet her. "Zara!" shouted Milo. "You're back!" "Yes," she replied, out of breath. "I raced as fast as I could." "Did you wait for me?" she asked, looking at Milo. When Milo saw how happy Zara was to be back, he knew that he had made the right choice. "Of course, I promised," he said with a smile. Then the four friends started climbing the mountain again. When they finally reached the top, a magical breeze sparkled around them. Milo and Zara felt so happy to be reunited that they hugged each other tightly. As they looked around, they saw that the mountain was glowing. Right in front of them, a stone monolith sparkled with the word loyalty. "What does this mean?" asked Zara. Suddenly, the voice echoed through the mountain. "When you keep your promises and stay true to your friends, that's called loyalty." Milo and Zara smiled at each other. They knew that they had been loyal to each other, even when it was hard. Then the four friends slid down the mountain on a huge sheet of snow. They laughed and played all afternoon until the sun began to set. As they walked back home together, Deer said, "Today was such a fun adventure." "Thank you, Milo, for coming with us." "It was my pleasure," replied Milo. He was so happy to have such wonderful friends, and he knew that no matter what happened, their friendship would always be a source of strength for him. That night, after Milo had gone home, all the forest animals gathered together to hear a story from the wise old owl. "Tell us a story, Wise Owl," they said. Wise Old Owl nodded and began to speak in a gentle voice. "Today, Milo taught us something important. Loyalty is when you stay true to someone, even when it's hard. It means waiting, helping, and never forgetting your promises." The animals thought about what Wise Old Owl had said. They realized that being loyal sometimes isn't easy, but it's important to stay true to yourself and others. As the sun set over the forest, the animals said their goodbyes and headed home. Milo and Zara smiled at each other as they walked away. They knew that their loyalty to each other would help them through any challenge that came their way. The end.